Dorothy, Freedom. Chapter 1. A girl named Dorothy. This sucks, Dorothy said as she studied herself in the full-length mirror on the closet door in her bedroom. I'm 18 freaking years old, and if I want to go party on Friday night, I'll go, she fumed. She pulled her long straight black hair away from her face, the fingers of her other hand languidly stroking her high cheekbones before falling away. All her friends at school said she could be a model, and Dorothy believed them. She was tall and wonderfully formed, with waist-length charcoal hair so black it reflected blue from the overhead light in her room. Yes, Dorothy was beautiful, but innocent. Her aunt and uncle, with whom she had lived since childhood, kept her focused and away from what they felt were inappropriate influences. So, Dorothy carried a 4.0 average in high school, but had never been on a real date. She knew the boys looked at her in the hallways, the admiration and hunger reflected in their eyes, but she always turned away. That didn't mean, though, that Dorothy didn't have her own secret desires. Though her aunt and uncle did their best to keep her pure in 2003, that's an impossible task. Television, movies, pop culture, the internet, all were filled with frankly sexual energy and voluptuous Dorothy, though innocent still, was no prude. But nothing made Dorothy feel like she felt the day she and a small group of friends walked giggling past a downtown specialty shop called Disciplinarians. She'd grinned and averted her eyes with the rest, but the store called to her in places within herself she previously didn't know existed. The following weekend, telling auntie and uncle she was going to visit a friend, Dorothy scraped up all her available cash, saved from her allowance and babysitting gigs, and took the bus back to the city. She stood in front of Disciplinarians for several minutes, feeling the blood drain from her hands and feet, and her stomach knot. When she could take it no longer, when it was fight or flee, Dorothy wrenched open the door and stepped inside a new universe. The disparate but somehow synergistic smells of leather and rubber assaulted her nose as she turned, trying desperately to take it all in, the racks of instruments and clothing and other things she didn't recognize. She did, however, recognize that falling sensation in the center of her being, that sensation that felt like home. And then she saw it, and everything around her gelled into hard focus, a burgundy leather corset hanging by itself. In a store chock full of competing products, it was as if some unknown being had shined a spotlight on the corset. Dorothy didn't remember walking toward it, grabbing it, or taking it to the register and paying the multi-pierced and branded young woman behind the counter. She barely remembered boarding the bus to return to the quiet suburbs of Wichita. But she remembered touching that leather for the first time, and the shock that traveled down her spine. In the journey ahead, Dorothy would never forget that feeling.